Okay, so to continue on with our reef formation, all right. This is mainly how an atoll forms. Okay, they do not all reefs form around volcanoes, but it's just a simple little kind of diagram. Mainly the one at the bottom I want to look at here. So if you imagine an island, maybe a Bahamian island, with reef right around the edge, that's a fringe reef. Then a barrier reef is further away. Okay, and an atoll is actually just a reef left behind with nothing in the middle, just a pool or a lagoon of water. So let's look at each of these individually. Okay, first of all, fringe reef, little subheading. You've got a definition and an example, and then formation and an appearance. Okay, so I'm not going to read through all of this with you. I'm going to focus on the diagram. So whilst you're listening to me or watching me talk about the diagram, have a little read through here. Okay, so again, what we have, our fringe reef grow right beside the land. Here's the land, it slopes down under sea level. All right, the reef, it's shallow enough still, it's less than 25 meters for the reef to start to build up. And what you have is the reef is actually connected to the coast. Yes, there may be a shallow pool or shallow lagoon of water here separating it. So if you walk down, you might have to swim out a little bit to the reef, but it's connected to the land. Okay, it's a fringe, it's like the little edge of the coastland. Okay, it's usually a flat bed, and then on the far side, the seaward edge, where the ocean is, this is the landward side, seaward side. The reef actually drops off. For any divers or snorkelers, okay, it's sometimes called a wall. So if you snorkel or dive over the edge here, this will plummet, the land falls away, and it becomes too deep for any reef to live. Okay, just some examples here. All right, so again, you can see all of this light blue is underwater, and our reef is all here. Okay, but it's connected to the land. All right, again, this is a picture from the Maldives. So you have the beach, we go underwater, but all of this reef here, all of this bit, is still connected to the land. Okay, now barrier reef, exactly the same, just one major difference. Okay, so again, you've got your little heading, definition, we got our example, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, and then you got formation and appearance. Okay, so you need to make a note of all the text. Then what we have is, again, we got our land. This time it slopes down under the sea and it goes out a bit further, and all the way out here the reef forms. Okay, now it forms majorly out here. Further, it can be miles off the coast or kilometers off the coast. Okay, so between the reef and the land, okay, there's actually a big area of water. Now you'd have to sail out through that, you couldn't swim. Okay, it'd be very deep. There'd be very little life for a reef or anything growing here because it's too deep. Okay, and then it starts to build up way out here. Again, the seaward side, you can see the vertical drop off into the ocean. Okay, so that's our barrier reef. It forms a barrier away from the land. The Great Barrier Reef is a good example. Andros actually is the third largest barrier reef in the world. So you can go out there and explore that if you like. Again, this is the north coast of Australia, and here's the barrier reef. The light blue again shows the shallowest bits of water. This is about 6 kilometers, this distance here. Okay, so it's actually probably more, even up to 10 kilometers. So this is all deep water, and then we got our barrier reef, shallower water with the reef out there. Okay, and again you can see this is what a reef would look like. The lighter the blue, the shallower the water. Okay, finally, going to do atolls a little bit different. All right, so again, little definition and an example. This is awesome, actually. The Great Blue Hole in Belize. It's an incredible formation. So you can make a note of that, and then I'm going to take you through it like this. Okay, atolls form out in the ocean, not near land. Now, what usually happens, you need to write down these 4 steps. Okay, usually our volcanoes, which we've studied before, one happens out in the ocean. And eventually, after many eruptions, it'll build up to break the surface of the sea. Once it does that, a fringe reef, see it here, this white bit and white bit, can start to form. Okay, this takes thousands of years. All right, so now you've got these shallow areas on both sides, or all around the new land, the volcano. Fringe reefs start to form. Okay, and they become established. What happens to the volcano is, under where a volcano forms, you may remember we have something called a magma chamber. Now when that empties, the land above starts to collapse back in on itself. So the volcano or the land here will be eroded from the top and also fall back in. So you can see how it starts to shrink. So the fringing reef surrounds the sinking island. Now you can see our fringe reef. And eventually, all right, when the land completely sinks down below, you're left with just a lagoon or a pool of water in the middle with this circular area of reef. These are very rare. Okay, there's not many in the world. Okay, it may look something like that. In this case, the reef has actually breached the surface. That's actual land, and then there's coral reef under the surface here, and this is the island shrinking away. Eventually, I don't know how long, but that will disappear and you'll just have a pool of water. This is the one in Belize. Okay, so you can see how big it is. That's quite a large boat, and you can see the the shape. That's all reef, and this here was actually the subsistence, I think, of a blue hole. So that formed a bit different, but it just looks, to me, it looks absolutely amazing. So that is our atolls. Okay, there are 3 types of reefs. There are 2 other types I want you to make a quick note of, but these are lesser discussed or known. Okay, a bank reef, you'll actually maybe be surprised to realize this is the name given to a large area of shallow water which contains examples of fringe and barrier reefs. So for example, the Great Bahama Bank, which we've already looked at, that contains what, Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Berries, Abaco, New Providence, Andros, all of that. The Great Bahama Bank is considered a bank reef. It is a huge area which contains smaller reefs within it. That's all a bank reef is. Then our patch reefs, they occur between fringe and barrier reefs if both are present. All right, small outcrops in shallow water where corals could survive. Let me go back up and find that. So if you have a place where there's a fringe reef and a barrier reef, in between there you might get these little patch reefs just where there's just the right conditions for a reef to occur. Okay, so that's all you need to know about our types. Now, what we're going to look at now is we're going to go into values of coral reefs. Okay, then we're going to look at the threats to coral reefs, then look at how we can protect them. All right, again, there's quite a few notes to be made here, folks, so go through it at your own speed or own time. Biodiversity, key word. You must write down the bit in white. Okay, coral reefs have a huge level of biodiversity. All right, now these 4 little points, I'm just talking about the first value. The first value of coral reefs is biodiversity. So this is all about biodiversity. The next one talks about different values. Okay, so although reefs only cover a tiny percentage of the ocean, they contain up to 25% of the plant and animal life. So they have huge biodiversity, huge levels of life. And anybody, again, who snorkels or dives, you can see that it's teeming with life. So first of all, they offer biodiversity. A second value, they're a home to thousands of plants and animals, and they provide a breeding ground for the animals to reproduce. Okay, so without these, the world would lose diversity. Reefs also produce food for these species, which in turn become food for other species. So the coral reefs produce a whole food chain or food web as well, which I hope you've come across in science. Reefs also are like sand factories. Okay, and as some reefs break down each year due to erosion and some die, they produce a lot of the sand, which is then needed for that same ecosystem to thrive. So it is a very self-sustaining ecosystem between food production, homes and breeding grounds for fish and plants, producing food for each other, and the sand needed. It does it all. Okay, now we don't need the bit in white, but we got these 4 other very important values. And again, some are very important to Bahamas, particularly the first 2. All right, so look, just like our mangroves the other day, our coral reefs protect us from lots of storms. Shallow water and the porous structure of all of our reefs, okay, they slow down waves and absorb their energy. Okay, so they're very important for that. Tourism, especially true in the Bahamas. Thousands of visitors come each year to snorkel, dive and fish on our reefs. It generates huge money and jobs for the country. Okay, we look at the bad impacts of that also in just a few minutes. But think about even now, how many people work in tourism? Okay, one of the reasons I moved here was for diving, because the oceans and the reefs are so amazing. Scientific research and education. Okay, so reefs also act as a living laboratory. Okay, so with lots of different life and all sorts of things going on. we can examine this. Scientists all over the world visit reefs to try and find out more about them and more about marine biology and marine life and everything like that. All right. And finally, medicines. Some species in reefs, such as algae and sponges, have been used for various medicines, and there's constantly, like we said, constantly research going on to find further benefits. All right. So you need to know the values of coral reefs, especially our biodiversity. Okay, there'll be one more video